right, welcome back, football fans. We're back for another episode of Inside the Pigskin. I'm your host for one more week at least, Mr. Stephen Rochelle. Obviously, to the right of me, Mr. Ben Troop, and down bottom is Mr. Marvin Powell III. We're going to be joined by two other gentlemen as we continue to go along here. Starting a little early tonight, accommodate for Big Ben. He's going to be in, he's going to be out, he's going to be all over the place tonight. So always appreciate your guys' time. How excited are you guys for this week? Let's start with you, Marvin. How you feeling, brother?
Man, I feel good. Feel real good out here in the ATL, dealing with a little bit of off and on rain. But other than that, man, I'm excited about tonight. Love the topic list. And just looking forward to catching up with Ben again and you, Steve, as well.
Always. Ben, how you feeling tonight, brother? All over the place? You mute. You're on mute.
My fault. I said another day above ground, man. Driving by graveyards, I'm not in them. I'm like Marvin, man. I just appreciate another day. Yeah, we dealing with some, it's extreme heat or heavy rain or somewhere in between when you talk about Atlanta, whatever part you in these days.
Oh yeah, we're dealing with the rain today, but we're also dealing with no trash pickup, all kinds of craziness going on in Philadelphia. Phillies games postponed. There's gonna be a doubleheader tomorrow, but we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about tonight. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is Ben's least favorite quarterback in the NFL. So, but we can't. We're not. This is not completely an Aaron Rodgers topic because the splash was made. Pittsburgh made it clear. Okay, we see you signing Jair Alexander in Baltimore. We're gonna raise you up one because they sent Minka Fitzpatrick back to Miami, and they got Jalen Ramsey. They probably can you tell me a better two-tier, actually three-tier? I think they up there with the Eagles now because you got Slay's over there now. Yeah, got Jalen Ramsey there now, and Joey Porter Jr. is going to be playing nickel, I guess. So they and they added a tight end to the mix as well. So when you look at Pittsburgh's offseason, DK Metcalf, Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slay, and Mr. Smith down there at tight end, that we were just talking about this last week on the Fan in the End. When your GM shows your quarterback that, hey, we believe in you, we're all in. So, what are your thoughts on this one? Let's start off with Ben. Like, do you feel like this is Pittsburgh's pushing all their chips onto the table? Let's see if we get a ring for Aaron Rodgers as he says goodbye to the NFL on his farewell tour.
I mean, it's a good start. I mean, perception-wise, yeah. I mean, they making moves. I mean, Aaron Rodgers at the quarterback position. Talk about DK Metcalf with the first guy. I mean, Jonnu Smith and Jalen Ramsey. On paper, I mean, they're making some big moves. On paper, they're doing some incredible things. But I don't know how much Aaron Rodgers got left. Jalen Ramsey is a nice cornerback, man. Still a top 10 talent. Jonnu Smith is definitely an upgrade for Pat Freiermuth. They're going to definitely go two tight end sets this year with Jonnu Smith, Pat Freiermuth to go along with DK Metcalf. But I don't think it gets them any closer to Baltimore. It's some nice pick. That's some nice veteran players you bringing in from the offensive side, defensive side. Baltimore, like, man, okay, and like they say, okay, we respect it. They respect. You got to respect Aaron Rodgers. You got to respect Jalen Ramsey. Jonnu Smith had the best year of his career last year in Miami under that Mike McDaniel system. But outside of that, you got rid of T.J. Watt. T.J. Watt is your best defensive lineman or pass rusher. Cam Hayward is your best defensive lineman. Minka Fitzpatrick is probably your most consistent football player, and he's a Miami Dolphin now. So I know you traded the guy for. You traded essentially two guys for one guy, but on paper it looks good. But I wonder how many weeks it's going to take for Jalen Ramsey. Because Jalen Ramsey, outside of his time with the Rams, he's found a way to get out of Jacksonville. Now he's found a way, to get out of Miami. It ain't going to. I know he added a couple of meals to that.
Rams. Let's not forget he found his way out of Los Angeles.
Found his way out. So he got to Miami from the Rams. Now he's a Pittsburgh Steeler. It ain't going to take long for him to be disgruntled because while Pittsburgh is a tradition-rich team, I don't know if this got them close to even winning that division. Free plug Smitty, but we'll see. We'll definitely see. I'm looking forward to it though. But for I know the NBA don't like the fact that the NFL dominated their headlines when they were trying to go into free agency. I know they ain't like that, but hey man, NFL is still the most dominant pro league in America.
Let's start with Ryan. He's the new blood tonight. Let's get Ryan's thought on this. You feel this is pushing all the chips in for Aaron Rodgers, or are you with Ben? You don't feel like it's still enough to get him over Baltimore?
First off, can you hear me? Everyone can hear me okay? Everyone,
yes, you sound clear, brother.
Cool. So I think the two things can be true, right? Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers are all in for this year. I think the moves are very clear. You sign DK Metcalf, draft Caleb Johnson to go along with Warren in the backfield. You've got the trade, like you said, with Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith. TJ Watt's going to get a long-term deal done. They'll make him the highest paid non-quarterback by the end of preseason. That'll get done. I'm not worried about that. Yes, so from that perspective, yes, they're going all in. However, I do believe with Ben, at the same time, you can still go all in. That doesn't mean you're going to win the whole thing. And I think that's what's going to happen here. Baltimore is supremely talented up and down everywhere on this roster to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Mike Tomlin is a good coach, but I think he will finally experience a losing season this year, not because the team is a losing record. Like the team has talent on it. That's no doubt. But have you looked at the Baltimore Ravens lately? They're still good. I mean, the Cincinnati Bengals, I was saying this last night, I'm winning the division with Ben. If the Cincinnati Bengals defense is average, just average, this is a Super Bowl roster that can get back to the Super Bowl for the Cincinnati Bengals because their offense is electric and their defense just needs to be average and they can be a Super Bowl caliber team. So yes, I think Pittsburgh, is going all in to answer your question, but I still don't think it's enough regardless because the two teams in front of him, Cincinnati and Baltimore, are just too talented.
Marvin, your turn, brother.
Yeah, just kind of piggybacking off what Ben and Ryan said, for me personally, I don't think this is really about Aaron Rodgers as much. I mean, when you listen to all the noise, people really don't expect him to do great. There's a lot of haters out there, and people aren't looking at him like he's getting better. This guy he doesn't have the LeBron thing. You know what I mean? This guy, as a Jet fan, I saw it last year. I thought he played good in the end. But with the Steelers, I love Mike T. I love Coach Mike. I think he's a Hall of Famer. The guy hasn't lost a game in over a decade, hasn't had a losing season in over a decade. And when you look at what they're trying to do, I think Aaron Rodgers really, as opposed to them trying to cater to him, I think he's maybe the missing piece for what they need to a degree. And I think for Mike T getting all these players, all these years of getting to the playoffs and having a winning record, but not getting past, not getting to the championship game, not getting to the Super Bowl. I'm looking for the Steelers to have a great year around Aaron Rodgers. I don't want to say in spite of Aaron Rodgers, but they're putting their best foot forward. And at the end of the day, this is about Coach Tomlin, I think, getting over that hump again and getting his second Super Bowl. Because when you look at how long he's been in the league and you look at how long the Steelers have been relevant under him, it's time for them to transition, But again, like Ryan was saying, what Ben was saying, you look at the other teams in the AFC and it's like, do they have enough to get through these guys, all these other quarterbacks who are in their prime, heading into their prime with players around them? I don't know. So I'm looking to see Aaron go out on a positive note, best he can, whatever that means. I think the Steelers definitely have put together a team that looks good. But with football, you don't win the game on paper. You got to go out there and get it. And is Aaron Rodgers going to last 17, 18 weeks? If they're really leaning on him in spite of all the talent around him and the players are putting around him, I don't know. So this is a mystery year for me for the Steelers. I think it's a big year for Mike T. And I think I think they're doing their best to get Aaron going and get that team on the right path this year.
Now I'm gonna wrap this one all up. So I love all your points. I do think Ryan Ben, you're a little bit too high on the Bengals. I think they are who they are right now. They got so much dysfunction going on. The only positive thing that I heard come out of that locker room or that organization this year is that the fact that they're not moving and they have a deal in place to have a new stadium put in. But I'll say this: Pittsburgh last season reminded me a lot of the Eagles the season before. Hot start, and then just everything came apart at the end. And this is them trying to retool and redo things. It's really hard to do when you're resetting the quarterback position again. I think that's a Band-Aid over a wound that needs to be healed in another way. We'll see what Aaron Rodgers does. I think it puts them on par with the Baltimore Ravens, but I don't think it puts them in the same conversation. They have to show us that on the field. They have to show us that in January, not in September, not in August, in January, where it matters, where they've been falling short. So. Until then, it's going to just be our speculation, our words until they get on the field and do the thing. And as Ryan was saying, getting into my next point, the Pittsburgh still have an elephant in the room because apparently there's been deals shopped around and asked about and seen what's going on because they're not on the same page with their star pass rusher. TJ Watt has arguably been one of the best defensive players in the National Football League over the last handful of years. The record deals that guy down there in Las Vegas just got and the guy in Pittsburgh just got is going to make it really hard. And the other rumor swirling around is Micah Parsons' deal is going to be bigger than both Myles Garrett and Max Crosby. So that being said, it's going to be really tough if Pittsburgh doesn't get this done soon, and Micah Parsons does really reset the market. They need to take care of this now, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, not after mini camp, training camp, open practices. It needs to happen before the end of this week, or they're going to be in trouble. But let it go right down to Ryan to start this one off too.
Yeah, so I'll start with the Micah Parsons bit that you mentioned. I'm actually not concerned with Micah because I think just like Dak, just like CD, it'll come down to towards the end of the beginning of the season, and because that's how Jerry likes to do things, and why it is that way, we just don't know because it's Jerry, So I don't think it's going to be a big deal there in Dallas. Micah's going to get his money. With TJ Watt, though, the topic that you're talking about, again, I don't think this is going to be an issue. I really don't. The Steelers know what they have in TJ Watt, and they want to get this done. Can the worst scenario happen? Can TJ Watt come in one day and say, I refuse to play for this organization ever again, I want to be traded, and he gets traded? Absolutely, that could happen. But I consider that like a 1% chance of happening. The Steelers aren't going to trade him. They know what they have in TJ Watt. They're going to make him the highest paid non-quarterback in the league history, and it's all said and done. May take till the end of the preseason, may take till the end of training camp, but it's going to happen because they cannot lose the player that is TJ Watt if they expect to go far on this defense. Cam Hayward's long in the tooth. The back end is not the same without TJ Watt there. He is the heart and soul. He's the anchor of this defense, and there's just no way they're going to let that go out the door. Yes, you could trade him and get nice value of picks, sure. But where's that going to get you this year? Where's that going to get you next year? You're not going to have that value with TJ Watt if you trade him. So therefore, yes, I'm not worried at all. Deal's going to get done. It may take, like I said, till the end of the preseason, till the end of the training camp. But no worries from my end. It's going to get done.
Big Ben.
I mean, I want to agree with you, Smitty, but I think it is going to be a problem for this reason right here. This is going to be TJ Watt's last time getting a big deal. This is going to be his last time being able to capitalize on what he's already done. The man got 108 career sacks. They're going to want TJ to do it the Pittsburgh way. When Mike Tomlin says things like it's going to work itself out, that's because Mike Tomlin don't have to negotiate with TJ Watt. TJ Watt has been about as rock solid. I didn't think he would ever even be in the same stratosphere as his brother, but he is. TJ is just as good as JJ, and that's saying a lot. And they're the only brothers in NFL history to be defensive players of the year. TJ is 30 years old. I think he's gonna be 31 years old. TJ is also in the twilight of his career. Now it's bright, it's shining bright. But where they gonna get the money from? I mean, you're paying a lot of people right now. Jalen Ramsey's making a lot of money, right? Jonathan Smith gonna be making a lot of money. Aaron Rodgers gonna be making a lot of money, right? You got a bunch of guys coming up on rookie deals. Well, here's what you got to think about: current contracts. Current contracts affect future contracts. And if I give him Myles Garrett, Max Crosby money, I can't sign many more people because there's only so much money to go around. Has TJ Watt earned his money? Yes. But Marvin can tell you this: it's not that you earn it, it's when you earn it. The closer you are to 30 or past 30, they want to give you your money, but they kind of looking at you like, I mean, we want to give it to you, but well, they need to listen. This what the GM for Pittsburgh need to call the GM for Philly and say, yo, Howie, how do I get this done, man? How do I sign TJ Watt and don't salvage, 2026, 2027? And how are we going to be like, I don't work for y'all. Figure it out. So I do agree, Smitty, it's going to get done, but that's a lot of zeros. Myles Garrett shook up everything because when then Max Crosby got his money. And they saying, dude, y'all giving these dudes that type of money? Yep. So, I mean, I do think it's going to get done. I just think it's going to add to the soap opera of the Steelers because arguably your best player on the team is not currently with the team.
Marvin.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's always so much unnecessary drama when you have these franchise players like TJ Watt, who he's one of the faces of the league. The Steelers love that, having a face of the league on their team. He's one of the foundational players of their defense, best pass rusher, in the league on their team. And there's no way this guy is going to get out of there. He's going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. They're going to sign him, give him the money. They're going to find a way. I feel like, they always find a way to get the money when they need the money. They find a way right before the season starts, right when they break training camp, whatever it may be. He's going to get his money. They need him. They're not the same team without him on the end. That's just what it is. I mean, they have talent on that team, but when you have a guy coming off the edge as consistent as this guy is, and I'm a guy, again, he had to win me over. You know what I mean? Just like what Ben was saying, I never saw him being anything close to his brother, but he showed me play after play. And, as a former fullback, I respect that physicality. This kid plays tough. He represents everything that Tomlin and the Steelers represent. He could have played in the 70s. He is a fan favorite. He's a guy who he's big. You don't let guys like that walk out the door. They're gonna find a way to get it done, and as they always do for their star players, whether it's Jerry or the Steelers, he gonna get his money. This is just the drama that we all love to talk about and see, but they're gonna pay that man.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's something that you need to get done before before a Micah deal gets done. But I do agree with Ryan that Jerry likes to do it. September, October, resign these guys. Me and Ben talk about this all the time. It's Jerry's need to steal the headlines and to defer away from what's actually going on in the field. But that's a argument for another day. The next one is, we're starting to see the beginning of NFL Network's, top 100 players, and but starting to see these lists pop out of there. You starting to see these people fill this stuff in, and some of the stuff cracks me up. We're a bunch of them. Saquon Barkley all of a sudden is the number one guy on the list, and been seeing some other names. Me and Ben were talking about it last week. I don't know why we're seeing Penei Sewell on here. We don't see a Lane Johnson on here anywhere. So it makes me go through this thing, man. So what I want to get from you guys tonight. All right. There's no way we gonna give our top 100s today. So what I wanted to do with you guys is I want to get your 5 who do you think are overrated players that you typically see on this list, and 5 underrated players that you typically see on this list. Let's kick it off with Ben.
5 overrated players that I'm gonna see on this list, and I know, overrated. and I know people gonna get mad. I think Tyreek Hill is overrated. I'm gonna tell you why. Overrated to me doesn't mean you ain't a phenomenal football player. Overrated means you get way too much hype, and they feature you. They're gonna feature Tyreek. Tyreek is overrated because he's too wishy-washy. He got the talent, but I just think that back-to-back 1,700-yard seasons, if he balling, he loving. If he ain't balling, it's everybody else's fault. If you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, you don't want to be a Dolphin no more. I got cut off in traffic. I don't want to be a Dolphin no more. I just think that, it's too much drama when it comes to a guy, like Tyreek Hill. I'm going to say this, and people ain't going to like it. Michael Parsons is overrated. You know why? Because when the games matter the most, I'm talking about the games that matter the most. Listen to me, people. Let me quantify this. Overrated doesn't mean you ain't him. I'm saying in the biggest games, Michael would disappear. And in the games they gotta have it, Michael gonna get his numbers now. And let me tell y'all about numbers. Numbers are like what the Bill Parcells say. Numbers are like a bikini, man. It shows a lot, but not everything. I'm just telling y'all. I'm saying this humbly. I'm saying this humbly, right? You know who else is overrated? And I don't care. Josh Allen is overrated. Josh Allen, right? MVP of the league. If you cannot beat Kansas City, and Marvin, you can back me up on this. I look at the best players. Can you beat the best players? He cannot beat the best players. He is Peyton Manning without the Super Bowls. He's gonna be the best regular season quarterback you're gonna see. And when you get to the postseason, cast with a friendly ghost. He's gonna disappear. I'm just telling y'all, you got to be able to beat the best to be considered the best. And he's the only second team All-Pro to ever win the MVP. That's never happened in the history of football. You ain't even considered the best quarterback in the league, and you won MVP. I am saying these guys. I'm gonna tell you who else overrated, and they just gave him a bunch of money. DK Metcalf is overrated. I love DK. But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. When have you ever considered DK Metcalf the best receiver in football? He just got paid like it. And he gonna get his money. Is DK Metcalf better than AJ Brown? Nope. Is he better than CD Lamb? Nope. Is he better than Puka Nacua? Nope. Is he better than Jamar Chase? Nope. Better than Justin Jefferson? Nope. And he's the highest paid receiver. I'm just telling y'all. I'm just looking at it from afar. Overrated don't mean you ain't the man. It just means that people give you a little bit too much, right? A little bit too much. And the biggest, most overrated player you won't ever see, Justin Herbert. I do not get it. I just don't. And it's every year, right? I know he look like he a model. I think he got a model for a wife. Congratulations. I ain't hating on you. But at a certain point, he's good, not great. They talk about the Chargers like they're coming off a Super Bowl, right? They ain't going to no Super Bowl. They lost to the Jags after Trevor Lawrence, right? Threw 5 picks. People, and I want people to get mad like, Ben, you call Tyreek Hill and DK Metcalf, compare their numbers to the best in the league. Did I say Jamar Chase? No, because he's not overrated. Did I say Justin Jefferson? No. Now, underrated. The most underrated player in football, maybe the most underrated player you ever seen, is Jalen Hurts. I don't understand it, man. I just don't get it. It ain't sexy. The third best winning percentage since he got drafted, beside Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, is Jalen Hurts. Oh, it's because he got Saquon. Okay. Who won the MVP of the Super Bowl? Oh, that was Jalen. Right? You're going to blame him for his cash? Right? Blame him. But the man is getting it done. Right? The second most underrated receiver player is on his team, Devonta Smith. The dude is nasty good. Not kind of good. He's nasty good. And somebody said you're not going to have a 180, 185-pound receiver dominate. Well, as number twos go, he's about as good as it get. Because I think sometimes, when it comes to those type of guys, it's easy to just push them to the side and say they're not that good. Underrated, Jared Goff. He's doing it for Detroit. What? Detroit is a contender, right? And I just think that he's a guy that don't get enough credit because people still looking at him when he was out there with the Rams. Since he left the Rams, he's beat Matthew Stafford every single year. My number 4, Mike Evans. 1,000 yards for all 11 seasons. Been in the league 11 years, Marvin Smitty. 1,000-yard receiver season. Never been a first-team All-Pro. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. Got over 100 touchdowns. It ain't sexy, but he's getting it done. He ain't fast. He ain't slow. He gets open. He might get open, and I hate him because I got to deal with the twice a year with my Falcons, right? And number 5, I mean, and I mean this humbly, and I know what he just did last season. Derrick Henry so underrated. Derrick Henry almost went for 2 bills again. I know it's about Saquon. Marvin, you know this. This man is 30 years old. He had, 1,800? And they didn't even feature him. There were games they didn't even give him the ball. I know. Listen, I love you, Saquon. Did your thing. I'm just saying. But Derrick Henry to me is underrated because we say, oh, he only good because he big. No, he good because he good. What you mean because he big? Brandon Jacobs was big, and he was good, but he wasn't good like Derrick Henry good, and he was an incredible back. So that's my 5 overrated. That's my 5 underrated. I want people to get mad. You don't got to like it. I'm just saying. And overrated means you're not living up to what I think you can live up to. DK Metcalf looked like an action figure. He a bad man. But DK Metcalf was the best receiver on the Seahawks team. That the other receiver was 5'9", 5'10", and like it. We'll see what happens, man. But that's my overrated and underrated.
All right, let's go with Marvin on this one.
All right. Steve, what I have for you here are my top 5 overrated players, my top 5 underrated players, and what this list wasn't based on the top 100 lists.
It don't have to be. It don't have to be.
That was just my. So here we go. I'm gonna start overrated. Number 5, Trevor Lawrence. I love Trevor Lawrence coming out of Clemson. This guy was supposed to be listen, generational quarterback, all that size, arm, gun. He was the man. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if he had a fair shake with Urban Meyer as his coach the first year, and all the really what it seems to be the typical mess of Jacksonville. But for everything this guy was promoted to be and highlighted to be, I'm not seeing it transition out there, man. And I hate it. I think he gets a lot of press. And he's a guy who needs to have a big year this year, I think. I do. But right now, he's my number 5 overrated player. And my number 4 is Purdy, the quarterback out of San Fran. Listen, the kid, Mr. Irrelevant, it's all cute and all that stuff. I like that. It's great. It's great for entertainment and all that. And he could play. He's a good player. He's a very good player without question. But I'm a guy who thinks that you can put a lot of quarterbacks in that system and get those numbers. I do. I think there are a lot of average quarterbacks in the NFL, above average quarterbacks maybe, that in that system are going to look good. I believe that. I think he's one of them. My number 3 overrated player, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Famer, one of the best ever. This guy steals every headline out there. At the end of the day, as time goes on, as these games go on, these weeks go on, I don't see him getting better and staying healthier. I think he's gonna struggle. I do. And I think he gets a lot of hype, and I think they're putting a lot on this guy in Pittsburgh for what I said before. I think it's a big year for Mike T. Number 2, number high draft pick, franchise quarterback out of Miami, Tua. Listen, talented kid, guy can slang it. I'm worried about availability. I'm worried about whether or not he really has it to get them over the hump. I don't know if he's that guy. And again, this is a guy who gets a lot of press out there. And I think him and his coach are looking, I'm not gonna say the hot seat, but it's time for them guys to put up and do something. And my number 1 most overrated player in the NFL right now is Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is I think he's a good quarterback. Okay, he's good, but good isn't the standard that we respect. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, I think on paper, I think these guys they've had teams throughout his years. I think Jerry is paying out big money to win games. And I think if you put better quarterbacks on the Cowboys, I think the Cowboys are a better team. And because they're America's team and they're not getting it done and they haven't gotten it done, and every year they're promoted as that team and they're the headline of every single sports show on TV. I mean, for me, it's Dak Prescott. All right. Underrated. Here we go. Number 5 underrated player, Jalen Hurts. We discussed him, I think, last week. And listen, he's not sexy. There's something about his play that when people look at it, they don't respect it or love it or cling to it. I don't know. But at the end of the day, that offense puts up points. They put up yards. He's scoring, whether he's throwing it or he's running it. he's getting it done in a way that is like 1960s football almost. And, people just don't love that. But he's absolutely underrated. Number 4 guy, underrated. I hate to say this, but I thought about it. Jared Goff. Look, at the end of the day, this guy was, in my opinion, kicked out of LA. Sean McVay, who's the quarterback whisperer, didn't want him. That's the bottom line. He had him and didn't want him. He kicked him to the curb. Guy goes to Detroit and he's balling. He's putting up numbers. He's, guys around, the receivers around him are looking good. He's the man in the middle there. With Ben Johnson, what he had last year, you could argue that maybe he's a little Purdy-ish, to be honest with you. But, this guy was a first-round draft pick. He's playing well. He's definitely underrated. My number 3 underrated player is Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley, you put him on the Eagles and you see what he does. And, you look at the fact that they just gave him an extension or added money to his contract, which is great. But when you look at his impact and you look at the reality of what he's bringing at the running back position, how is he not the highest paid player on that team, the most important player on that team? He is, without question. And just because of the fact that these owners and these teams have devalued that position, and you see what he does, and the guy above him, Derrick Henry, what I'm going to talk about, I think Saquon absolutely is one of the most underrated players. At number 2, I have Derrick Henry. Ben said it earlier. I mean, people silently forget, as we love Lamar and we love that Baltimore defense, we love that Baltimore culture. I mean, this guy brought a whole nother element to that team last year. He put up in a historic season last year quietly because they didn't win the whole thing. But without question, he is the second most underrated player. And the number 1, in my opinion, underrated player going to this season is Justin Fields of the New York Jets. No one's really listen to me right now. He has weapons. He has leadership there. They have an organization that I think right now is supportive of that head coach. I think Justin Fields has shown us flashes throughout his career, and I think he's going to finally get an opportunity to put that together, and you're going to see something special with these New York Jets and Justin Fields leading the way as the number 1 most underrated player in the NFL right now.
All right, Ryan, you're up, brother.
All right. So most of these on my overrated list have been said, which is okay. I just have them in different order. Number 5, Dak Prescott. I would agree with everyone. He is constantly battling an injury of some sort. Great leadership, good at the podium, what you want in your quarterback, which is fine. But on the field, I want to say he's like 2-5 in the playoffs, something like that. I mean, he is
tied for the worst. Tied for the worst in NFL history.
You got to win in the playoffs when it matters, and he has not done that. Always either battling an injury or just not getting it done in the playoffs. Dak Prescott, my number 5 overrated player in the NFL. And same as Marvin, I did this kind of not based on the top 100, but just kind of an overall snapshot. Yeah. Number 4 is DK Metcalf. I agree with Ben. I love me some DK Metcalf. He is always seemingly on the field, getting into fight with somebody. For every 60-yard touchdown pass he catches, the next play he's getting in a jaw fight with somebody and threatening to get kicked out of the game. Just too up and down, hot and cold for me. DK Metcalf, my number 4 overall player on this list. And then my top 3 are all quarterbacks. All have been said, except for actually one guy. Marvin, I think you've been watching Winning the Division because I've been talking about Trevor Lawrence so many times as my most important quarterback going into this season, along with one other guy, which you did not mention, which I'll say in a second. But Trevor Lawrence loved him out of Clemson, but he has not shown to this level. And I give him a mulligan with Urban Meyer his first year. I give him a mulligan there. But after that, he's got to show something. I mean, that playoff against Justin Herbert was that was bad. Giving up those 5 interceptions and then just melting down there at the end. Oh, that was bad. Trevor Lawrence has got to show me something with Brian Thomas Jr., with Travis Hunter and company this year to be out of my top 5 overrated players. Number 2 is, I hate to say this one too, it's Justin Herbert. I love Justin Herbert coming into the NFL. I told everyone who would listen to me that Justin Herbert is going to be a star in the NFL. And I looked like I was right for the first 2 years plus. He was really good. Tyrod Taylor gets a needle in him, and then he finds out 2 hours before the game, you're starting tomorrow or today in 2 hours because your backup quarterback is now you're up. I mean, the whole thing with Tyrod Taylor, like his first start, He knew like 2 hours before the game he was starting, and he just goes out there and goes toe for toe with Patrick Mahomes. 5 touchdown passes. I think they lost in overtime, I want to say, or late in the fourth quarter. But Justin Herbert, he's got to get back to the playoffs, and he's got to win in the playoffs for me not to consider him overrated anymore. Too much talent on that team, and Jim Harbaugh is a best coach he's ever had. He's got to start taking advantage of those opportunities. And my number one overrated player. And also, like Trevor Lawrence, a big year for this man. I think this will be his last year in his destination, regardless of what he does this year, unless he wins the Super Bowl or like a deep playoff run. That would be Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is such a overrated player in my book. I'm a Panthers fan, for those you don't know. So he's like Cam Newton, very athletic, but outside of that, I mean, like for all Cam's warts, Kyler Murray has a lot of warts, and I think this will be his last year in Arizona because, let's be honest, it's Arizona. The ownership is not great. They are looking up at the Rams, the 49ers, and the Seahawks, it seems like, every year. Even if they finished third and maybe snuck into the playoffs, it doesn't matter. Kyler Murray is not going to be there past this year. Too many injuries, too much inconsistency. I mean, they started, 10-1, I want to say, 2 years ago? And they just, slid down the stretch and ended 10-7 and got bounced in the first round. So Kyler Murray, my most overrated player in the NFL. All right. Top 5 underrated players in the NFL. One has already been said twice. Derrick Henry, so underrated. I probably have him below at number 5, but he was actually on my fantasy team last year. But that was standing. Derrick Henry is a man. He runs with authority. He runs with power. When he gets in the red zone, you can forget it. He's going to score the touchdowns. Not like the tush-push automatic, but it's almost automatic with Derrick Henry in the end zone down there in the 1-inch line. Number 4 is Jared Goff. I also heard that said as well. Jared Goff is an elite quarterback. I shouldn't say that. Borderline elite quarterback. Sean McVay did not want him there in L.A., and it helped that Brad Holmes was in L.A., came over to Detroit, and then traded for him because he wanted and saw up close what Jared Goff can bring to a team, and he has been able to deliver on those intangibles. Now the question is going to be, without Ben Johnson, how's he going to look with the new offensive coordinator and the center? Frank Ragnow also retired, so that's a big question for Jared Goff this year. And how's he going to look with the new offense? But I think he is my number 4 underrated player in the NFL, still a borderline elite quarterback. Number 3 underrated player in the NFL. I went back and forth on this because there's a lot of people that I could say, but I'm going to give an offensive lineman some love, okay? Left tackle for the Buffalo Bills, Deion Dawkins, protecting Josh Allen. That guy does not get enough credit with how good he is. I mean, Deion Dawkins slowly has improved every year in the NFL, and he is almost automatic on that left side. He's not quite the Trent Williams tier, but he's right under them. I'd say him and Lane. I almost put Lane Johnson here, to be truthful. Deion Dawkins was the guy I decided to put, but you could either slide Lane Johnson in here as well. Both of those guys, very, 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 very underrated players. Deion Dawkins is my number 3 underrated player in the NFL. Number 2. Underrated player in the NFL. I lose my train of thought there. Where's my list? I'm so many players are going through my head that it hurts me sometimes. Okay. All right. Number 2. Okay. This is going to be hyperbolic, and it's not hyperbolic. I think, in my opinion, let's put some respect on Jordan Love's name. I think he's going to have a big year this year for the Green Bay Packers. I mean, look out. I mean, he has Matthew Golden. He's got an elite running game. He's got tight end that is underrated. He's got so many receivers around him. He's got Matt LaFleur calling the plays for him. I think Jordan Love, if he can stay out of the injury, out of the locker room with an injury, he has the chance to break out this year in a big way. I think they have a chance to win the North. That's how good I think they're going to be this year. And then finally, my number one underrated player in the NFL, and again, is also a quarterback, Matthew Stafford. I mean, the guy should have retired 5 years ago based on the number of hits he's taken back from just his Detroit days alone. But Matthew Stafford can sling a football. He is tough. He is determined. And that guy literally has his arm's going to have to fall off drastically for me to believe that he's going to somehow retire at some point, because he has just been taking hit after hit, but he keeps getting up and keeps. I mean, let's be honest, the Rams have no business being as good as they are with Matthew Stafford as quarterback, because he's not Tom Brady, where he was protected so long in New England and didn't get hit a lot of times. No, he got hit so many times in Detroit. He should not be functioning like he is at 38, 37 years old, whatever he is now. But Matthew Stafford just keeps coming on back each and every year. And so Matthew Stafford's my number one underrated player in the NFL.
All right. Before I get into mine, because I want to quick go through this, try to get Ben in one more question in before we let him go. JD will be here in a minute. Pete Digits and Mia Craves. He's on his way. He'll be here at 9. So I want to quick go through this, overrated Joey Bosa. I think he's going to be a bust when he goes to Buffalo. I think he does not know how to stay off the injury report. I think another wasted signing this offseason is and another bust is Stephon Diggs. He's already in the headlines for the wrong reason. I know Mike Vrabel wants a good wide receiver that can really help him, but I don't think it's going to be Stephon Diggs. 3, Aaron Rodgers, absolutely. I think he's one of these guys. He gets too much credit. And he just never takes any of the blame for anything. We already mentioned Mr. Dak Prescott. He's the king of the regular season, and he's one of the people in the court when it comes down to time of the playoffs. He just disappears. We're going to be talking about him in a little bit. Deebo Samuel's another one who I think is extremely overrated. You have him sitting there as a wide receiver, and he's more of a trick play, move around the line of scrimmage. You never see him against the number ones when it goes to go out there. And absolutely, the fifth right there absolutely has to be Justin Herbert. He's another one of these guys. He looks so sexy during the regular season, and just he craps the bed during the postseason. You can't be doing that in the NFL. Underrated, obviously. I'm going to agree with everyone. Jalen Hurts absolutely has to be on this list. I'm the Philadelphia guy, and I'm absolutely sick of having to come on here and talk about it. These nonsense lists that you have. I've seen people put top 10 lists, not put Jalen Hurts on the list, but they would have put Dak Prescott on the list. They would have put Justin Herbert on the list. They would have do this. That. Like, I have no argument with most people's list 1 through 4. Then we also see Jaden Daniels get thrown on the list after 1 year. I have an issue with this. He has to give me the long term. Do I think he's going to be there? Yes, I do. That's why I don't hem and haw about that one too much. Underrated, another one. That running back up there in Buffalo, James Cook. He does not get enough credit at all. He doesn't get credit in his own town. Nothing. I don't. If I'm this guy, I'm not playing around with them. Give me my contract. I don't care how many running backs you got in the room. Yeah, cool. You got Frank Gore Jr. That's nice. He's not doing what I'm doing, or else he'd be taking my snaps. Okay. The other one, this man is stuck in proverbial hell right now. Chris Olave is down there in New Orleans, and I'm sure right about now he's screaming for one of these contenders. They're like, please, man, give up a second or third. Get me out of here. I don't have anywhere to throw me the ball. They're trading all the good players away. I don't know what I'm going to do. Underrated. We talked about it last week. I'm going to bring him up again. Ryan just brought him up. Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson has been the man. He has a whole tape of shutting down the best pass rushers in the league. Micah Parsons goes and runs to the other side. He one-handed slapped Von Miller when he was the man Von Miller. There's a great tape. The actual Bosa that shows up on the field. Not Joey, the other one. And he just absolutely mauled him in the NFC Championship game. He couldn't do it. He couldn't even sniff a pressure. He is so underrated. It's disgusting. And I'm going to go back-to-back, Eagle here. Devontae Smith, I'm going to agree with you guys again. He is a number one playing number two. His tape is so sickening. Big catches against Cincinnati, one-handed game winner at the end. He makes all the spectacular toe tapping catches on the sideline, and he not scared to go across the middle and get his bell rung. Does not care. Anyone remember the Saints game? Everyone remembers the big run that Saquon made. Do y'all remember what happened before that? Right. Devontae goes over the middle, gets gang tackled, gets knocked out of the game, and then what are the Eagles doing in response to that? They go and run one to the house, right? And even though we were arguing about this, underrated stuff, guys, I'm not have a Philly bias. Do y'all really got a problem with this? Really? He is an elite route runner. But yeah, we got you right. Listen. I do have a Nick Foles jersey. He's sitting in the closet waiting for me to get to a signing. But I actually got the Nick Foles jersey before the Super Bowl run. I don't got a Nick Foles Super Bowl jersey. I got my jersey when he threw the record-setting 7 touchdowns against the Raiders when they win that run in 2013 before Chip Kelly destroyed that team. So you guys can make all the comments you want. You can't tell me that those guys do not get the overall respect in the NFL that they don't get. And I'm going to go with Marvin on this one. Absolutely, Justin Fields is underrated. He's been thrown out, discarded, bad coaching, bad teams, bad front office. He had to deal with the nonsense in Pittsburgh when he had them a winning team. And then they brought back in Mr. Russell Wilson, who actually should have been on the overrated list. There's just too many people on it. But watch out, Justin Fields. I hope Marvin has something to cheer about this year. I hope they steal a playoff spot and turn things around. Love the head coaching hire. I think we're gonna have a fun season of parity. I think some of the teams that used to be running things ain't gonna be running things. But got through that one real quick. We talked about it in the last few weeks. I want to get Ben first so he can get on what he's doing and get back to us. We already talked about the collusion about the non-guaranteed contracts. Well, Mike Fiorio was at it again. Now the NFL Players Association will not engage with the NFL until next year. I think it absolutely is cause and effect. Ben, your words, and then we'll see you in about an hour.
Listen, the NFLPA does a lot of great things. This is the part of the NFLPA that I do not like. What is it going to hurt the NFLPA forcing the NFL to even go into negotiations? When everybody kept saying that Colin Kaepernick was crazy to think that he was colluded against by all 32 teams, what they going to say now? No guaranteed contracts? Well, they're not going to talk about it at the owners' meetings, but that's that wink. That's that wink of the smile. Like, look, we ain't giving no guaranteed money because it makes too much sense. And I'm going to keep on saying this. Marvin Powell III, guys, fullbacks, if anybody deserve guaranteed contracts, it's guys like that because they just started keeping track of concussions, right? They used to bell rung. Oh, man, you got a stinger. No, dude, I can't remember who I am, right? That stuff needs to be compensated. And I'm not saying you got to give him all the money. I'm saying every time he steps on the field, it should be guaranteed money coming in his pocket, and they can find a way to do that. You don't got to worry about $100 million contract and people getting guaranteed money. You'll start seeing 3-year, $30 million fully guaranteed. The $100 million got to go to the quarterbacks. They can find a way to get it done. As much as I appreciate the NFL, there are a lot of things about the league that needs to be done away with, and non-guaranteed contracts need to be a thing of the past. It's 2025. If student athletes can find a way to get paid from colleges, the best players in the world need to find a way to get guaranteed money. That's just my take on it. Appreciate y'all, boys.
We'll catch up with you in a little bit, brother.
Yeah.
All right, Marvin. Gonna kick you second off on this one. Obviously, we talked about it last week with another collusion case in the NFL that was proven, and now coming out again this week. Now the NFL Players Association will not sit down with the league until next year. Do you think that's cause and effect, or do you believe that that's just a coincidence?
At the end of the day, there are two sides of this to look at, to be honest with you. Number one, these owners, these are the titans of their industry. These guys are wealthy. These guys have put together a phenomenal league. These guys are rich by making, great business decisions. At the end of the day, what they are any other entity in America, any other large corporation. They care about money. They care about their money. They care about saving their money, keeping their money, regardless of what the employees are, what they do, what they sacrifice. Their focus is making and keeping money. Period. That's and that you can't knock them for that on one hand. On the other hand, as a former player, as the son of a former player, and as someone who has many friends, obviously, who have played in this league, the reality is these guys go out there and put their lives on the line to give you a great product. They put their lives on the line to get the fans, the owners, advertisers, everything they're looking for. These guys I hear today, the fullbacks, the guys in the trenches, the guys who are really playing that combat sport, which football really is, they deserve their payday. Period. They're doing their part to generate the money. They're doing their part to bring the money in. At the end of the day, it is backwards to me that they would collude and want to keep money from these players who have been so good to them and have helped make them so much money. Guys who put their heart and soul and everything into it. The NFL has been doing this for years. Collusion is not a new thing. They've been doing it, since the beginning of the league itself. Period. That's just what it is. In regards to what can be done, what should be done, I don't know what's going to happen next year. I don't know what's going to happen with the CBA. You would hope this is something that is brought up again. I think in 2030 when the CBA comes up, you would had the ruling been different and the NFLPA had won that, you would wonder what would happen. Who because a lot of players lost money on this. A lot of players who thought they were up for guaranteed contracts didn't get that. You wonder how this is going to turn out, because at the end of the day, what they did was just wrong in every way. So I feel bad for the players. I feel bad for really for the guys who go out there every day and give us this beautiful game. From a legal standpoint, these guys they have the relationships, they have the money. Who knows how that's going to go? So far, it's not going in favor of the players, but it's a horrible act. It's horrible to think that this really happened. And the reality is, like Ben just said, it's been happening in all the situations prior where you thought, I wonder if the owners got together and decided this or decided that behind closed doors. Of course they did. They absolutely did. Just like any businessman in any industry where they control it, they communicate. This is their livelihood. They're in cahoots with each other. They're friends. They've been friends for decades. You know what I mean? So collusion is a real thing. NFL players are absolutely impacted by it. The owners are just American businessmen who are trying to make money and save money. And this is what it looks like in terms of football collusion. It's horrible.
Ryan, you're up, brother.
Yep. So I did have to step away there for a second. Did I miss the dog pound segment, or did we not get there yet?
No, that is right after this, brother. Right after
perfect.
this.
Okay. I was looking at the order. I was like, oh wait, I hope I didn't miss that. Okay. The arbitrator, NFLPA. Yeah, basically Ben and Marvin said it. It's been happening. It's collusion. It's not a new thing. It's been happening. It's horrible. And player safety, they say they care about it, but like Marvin said, players putting their lives on the line, and yet if they really cared about player safety, and this is something I really am strongly passionate about, they would put grass fields on every single stadium, because turf, the data is out there. Some people think it's inconclusive, whatever. Grass is minimum. Players have said turf is harder to play on and practice, and their footing is not quite as good as grass. Point blank, end of story. If you want to just take it at that minimum level. But people also want to talk about Roger Goodell and how he's just like this pawn for the owners. Of course he is. He works for the owners. He is employed by the owners. People don't realize that, and if they don't, they're naive. Roger Goodell, put it this way, if Roger Goodell was not doing his job and doing things on behalf of the owners would run him out. Point blank in the story. Roger Goodell has to do what is best for the NFL. Sometimes that's unpopular. Sometimes that's not the most sexy thing to do. But Roger Goodell works for the owners. At the end of the day, they're going to collaborate. They're going to collude together, and some things aren't popular, and that's just the way it is. And the NFLPA not negotiating with the NFL, doesn't surprise me. But the whole thing is, as Ben and Marvin said, the whole thing's not good at all.
All right, I'm gonna preference this so our Sutter Fried gentleman, Mr. JD White, knows exactly where we're at. So obviously, we talked about this last week about the collusion with the Players Association, the NFL, and owners were trying to restrict them from giving out guaranteed contracts. It came out this week now that the Players Association does not want to sit down with the NFL on any talks, and I think it's particularly pertaining towards that Week 18 game, not the collective bargaining agreement that's up in a few years. I think it's just into that. Do you think this is cause and effect, JD, or is it just a coincidence that this has come out after the collusion thing has been brought to light?
Hi, everybody. Ryan, Marvin,
What's up, JD?
appreciate you guys being here, man. Madcraft and Marvin, I don't know.
I'll let Madcraft know. I will pull that back up so Marvin can catch that.
Yeah, we'll get Marvin in on that one. That's a good question, though, Madcraft. But hey, I'm here, everybody. Southern Fried Gentleman, Southern Fried Sports. Steven, you've heard me mention it once, not twice, but probably a million times. Dirty C words. Collusion, my friend, is one of them. And no, I don't like this one bit between the NFL Players Association. Roger Goodell, Ryan mentioned just a moment ago. It just feels like they're always at this constant struggle. And I get it. The owners want to make more billions of dollars. And the players just want to make more millions of dollars. At the end of the day, money talks, bullcrap walks. That is what we see playing out here. I mean, it's no different. We don't talk about politics in sports, but hey, guess what? Politics, it all boils down or fries up in this occasion to one simple thing: money. The players. And that's a whole other thing with the guaranteed money. If you want to do something like, I've heard this pitched, I think like 2 months ago. I don't know if you guys heard this about, they want a separate salary cap for the quarterbacks. Sure. Makes sense. Because I've also given this stat before. If you've listened to me once, you've heard it twice. There's only been 2 quarterbacks that have ever won by making more than, I think it's 13% of their salary cap. Won the Super Bowl, I mean. Stephen Young and Patrick Mahomes. They're the only 2 that made a certain amount over the salary cap figure and won the Super Bowl. Therefore, something's got to be done because you got to be able to pay everybody else. I mean, my goodness. A quarterback contract is like more than a third on some teams than the full season for the full players. You can't have somebody making that much money where things will get too over competitive. Another dirty C word. Or you'll start messing with your chemistry and culture. But everybody just wants more money.
Not all quarterbacks are that way, brother. But I definitely hear you. My thoughts on this.
Not all. Yeah, no, there's good ones. Yeah, absolutely. There are good ones. But the superstar divas.
But also you got guys that'll sit there and be like, my door's open. If we need to make sure this guy is here or that guy's here, let me know. I'll restructure so we can make sure that I got my boys with me to go play ball. So I'm gonna say it like this. You go ahead, Marvin. You got something?
Yeah, listen, I completely understand, this Tom Brady mentality of, take less money, win more championships, and that's all good. But I'll be honest. I have a problem when people talk about these players being greedy. We are Americans. We are Americans. We are capitalists. We are entrepreneurs. We want to get money and chase money. Why is that okay for everybody except for the athletes? Why is that okay for everybody except for the guy who works his whole life to be Pat Mahomes, works his whole life to be Lamar Jackson? You know, why is that? Why is he evil? Why is he demonized? Why are they demonized? You know, when these guys want to get top dollar regardless. And I'm talking about, you know, whether it's these college kids in NIL or NFL players. We're taught as Americans to get money from day one. Music taught us that. The movies taught us that. TV shows tell us that. Get money, make money. So it always, every time I hear someone talk about, you know, the athlete just being greedy, or it may be, to me, it's almost an anti-American thing to say. And it goes against everything that we've been taught and told. And it's just crazy when it's okay for you don't ever say that the actor took too much of the budget for the movie. You never say that, you know what I'm saying? But for the quarterback or for anybody else, it's a problem. And I thought, to me, it's just strange when you're taught and bred to be the best, to be number one, to go for it. And when you're number one, you get all the trophies and the gold and the money and the honey that comes with that. You know what I mean? But in the day of in this cap world, the player is looked down upon. And I think I understand it on one hand, but it's so crazy, and it goes against everything we've been taught growing up. But that's my rant. Sorry, Steve.
Oh, that's not a problem, brother. Go ahead, JD. I knew you want to add something.
Yeah, I wanted to respond. So first of all, Marvin, I just wanted to make sure that's not the way I conveyed it when I was saying what I said, right? Because I'm all for players getting paid. I'm all for. So I just wanted to make sure that part of your response wasn't to me specifically.
Hey man, I wasn't coming at you, but you said something that inspired me. You know, it's all good. It's all good.
Hey, no. Dude,
I'm gonna add to it. I'm gonna add to it.
That's what we do.
Listen, I'm gonna add to it. When I was posting reels on TikTok, right? These people are responding, well, I work that job. My job's not guaranteed. My money's not. I'm like, oh, what? Are you talking to regular 9 to 5 the job to people who are literally dying, who are literally not getting medical care and things of that nature? Your medical care is guaranteed, is it? Okay. We're not talking about the same thing. Why is it? Marvin's right. Why is it when these athletes go and try to get their money with what they do? They're demonized, they're divas, they're money hungry, they're bag chasers, there's this and that. So here's my thing to it, and then I'll pass it on to you, and we're gonna get the Madcast question before we get to the next topic. Why is it when these guys are underpaid, they're divas, but when the contract isn't working for the owners, they're not paid their money, and it doesn't go both ways.
Guaranteed contracts, Steve. That's why we need guaranteed contracts.
But this is what I've been sitting there saying. Then you won't have these guys sitting there like, oh, well, I deserve this. And no. You got your guaranteed money now. You got this. You got this up front. This is what your annual salary is. But then there's not these conversations. There's no strife between player and owner. It's already predetermined what you should be getting X, Y, and Z. Go ahead, JD.
Wow. So first of all, I'll have to react to what you just said too. But Marvin, no, I did have one other question for Marvin. Or to say, you know, why fans are getting sour about how much some of these players make. And I feel like it's not even as bad in the NFL as it is in college now.
It is. It's worse.
Because
horrible in college.
In college, right, yeah. And that was just going to be a quick little tidbit. We'll dive down that rabbit hole later. But, yeah, I mean, all of a sudden they're asking me to donate my Starbucks money to my NIL collective. Do you want to know how much Starbucks money I've got, y'all? 0.
Who's your team?
I make my coffee. I make my own coffee.
He wants to know your college team, brother.
I'm a Gamecock fan. South Carolina Gamecocks.
You're
confused with Jacksonville State, I guess. We're the real USC.
I didn't want to go there. I wasn't going to go there. I wasn't going to go there. You notice I was going to say something when I came back with it. I wasn't going to go there. But yeah, okay.
It's a I get it.
You got George Rogers. There you go. George Rogers. That's your guy. That's everything
right
there.
And
that's
then,
the whole program's history and success right there. George Rogers. Here we go.
And listen, hey, Steven, we'll get right back into it. But yeah, this is what happens sometimes when the Southern Fried Gentleman comes on. Because I tie all sports to all sports. And that was a fair shot, though. Because, when I hear USC, I know they're talking about the one in California. I know that. My only argument is that we were a state before they were a university. So I see both sides of this. Okay, I'm right in the middle. No, we weren't. No, we were not. We still ain't. We still ain't, Marvin. Yeah, we still ain't a good state.
I'm messing with you, man. I'm messing with you, bro.
No, I know. I love it. And so So in college, though, the fans are starting to hate how much these players are making, even more than the NFL. And nobody's going to hate on them. But they also have to understand a roster needs to be built around you. And that's why I cooked LeBron the other night. The dude's never taken a hometown discount. My overreaction for Overreaction Monday was that LeBron will be the first human being ever to enter the afterlife with a U-Haul full of cash. Because, dude, he's got money. I don't like talking about people's bank account, but it's so selfish. If you want to win championships, to never take a discount. And he slurps these teams dry. No draft capital, no money to spend. The way he's left these teams, he's a great player. I'm a LeBron fan, but he is the most anti-team player ever I've ever seen. I feel like.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
We gonna go down the LeBron hole when we get to fire up this week, because obviously there's some things that we can add on to there.
Yeah, anyways,
on top of his ring culture nonsense from last week. But let's move on. Before we get to the next topic, I want to get the Made Crafts question for Marvin. I've actually talked to them about this before, but he wants to know, how do you feel about the fullback position being eliminated due to the modern era of football, and how do you feel about teams trying to bring it back into the fold?
It breaks my heart. I was an NFL rookie in 1999, and in 1999, every team didn't have a fullback. They didn't have a designated fullback. This is when you started to see the tight end go to the H back. This is when the fullback became that second bigger running back, maybe a more athletic fullback type. And what we're seeing is the game evolve. Just like they didn't throw the ball back in the 20s and 30s and 40s, then they did, and now we have the air raid. The game has evolved. I think really taking the fullback out the game is consistent with what's happening with how the game's trying to be safer. And I get that, and I'm for it, and I want them to play a safe game and guys to be injury free. But the reality is, this is a brutal game. If you want to be really honest, it's a violent game. It is a violent game. For people who for 60 minutes can be that kind of guy. And you're seeing them trying to get away from that slowly. The fullback, listen, for me, my favorite two plays were ISO and Will, ISO and Bob. ISO, it's me and Mike Backer, whether it's Ray Lewis or Brian Urlacher or whoever it may be. Will, it's me and the Derek Brooks or Mark Fields. I enjoyed that. They're taking that out to make a new game, quick pass, mobile quarterback, athletic tight end. I hate it, to be honest with you. I hate it. In regards to these teams who are trying to bring it back, who are physical, who do have those big fronts, like the Eagles, for example. I love that. I love their style of play. I love the violence. I love the aggression. I love the physicality. That's what football is, And with the new safe game that we're playing, we're losing a lot of that. The fact that these guys are out there playing in training camp, they have one practice a day versus two. That blows my mind. You know what I mean? That changes the game completely. The fact that they've taken kickoff return essentially out the game, essentially. It's an evolving game without question. And as an old school fullback who grew up learning the game from a perspective of an offensive lineman. My father was an NFL offensive lineman in the mid-70s, mid-80s. It was a different game back then. You know what I mean? He was an offensive lineman for John McCain in the early 70s, mid-70s. It was a different game back then, you know? So for me personally, growing up, I learned the game from his perspective as an old lineman. And it was about physicality and aggression and violence. And you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again. And that's just what it is. That's what's missing from this game, to be honest with you. I mean, I take that back. That's still in this game. These guys are those caliber athletes, but we're seeing the game evolve and change. And to answer the question directly, I hate it. I think nothing epitomizes football like the fullback and the line.
Ryan, I know you've been sitting there quiet. Let's get your thoughts on the fullback question real fast before we get to the one I know that you're waiting for.
Yeah. Well, as a Panthers fan, Marvin will appreciate the name I'm about to drop, who was a nemesis all those years ago on the Panthers. Mike Allstott of the Bucs. I really enjoyed watching Mike Allstott as a fullback. And yeah, I agree with Marvin. It's a shame. Panthers had one in Brad Hoover that was really good as well. But yeah, the fullback position was special. It was something that you just don't see a lot nowadays. Kyle Juszczyk is probably the obviously closest example now, still with the 49ers. But I appreciated the blocking, the willingness, the toughness of the fullback position, and it's just sad the way it's been eliminated kind of phased out of the NFL now, and it hurts my heart. But Mike Allstott, I just loved watching that guy play back in the day. He was a man amongst boys out there, especially getting to see him twice a year with the Panthers.
Mike was the man. I played against Mike my rookie year, and it was impressive watching him up close, to be very honest with you. Big guy, wide, thick, powerful. When a team has a fullback, that team is telling you something. When you see a team line up with a fullback behind the quarterback and in front of the running back, that team has a different mentality. You know what I mean? And I respect that. But Mike was the man, without question.
I will say something, too, on this real quick.
Go ahead, JD.
Listen, when you play Madden or NCAA football, back in the day when I played, I formation. I wanted that fullback. And Ryan, you mentioned Mike Allstott. Me as a Gamecock, guess who I remember? Patrick DeMarco. Mm-hmm. And the difference between fullbacks, to tie both yours and Marvin's point there all together, we still have a few fullbacks these days. The Chargers are going more extreme with it, but think about Juszczyk from the 49ers. Isn't that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah, Kyle Juszczyk.
Yeah, great player.
But absolutely. But you don't think about him first because of his run blocking. That is what the fullback used to do. That number one priority for a fullback is to run block most of the time. Like, you're literally run blocking. You're making a hole for the running back. And now these days, though, they're more known for being dynamic receivers.
Yep.
I would be down for flipping it back the way you guys. I mean, I'm all for it. Madcraft, great question. Great answer, Marvin. Great answer, Ryan. Steven.
Hey, listen, we've already talked about this.
Somebody mentioned carrots and rabbit holes, man. I'm sorry.
Me and Marvin already talked about this, and he already mentioned the Philadelphia Eagles because when the threat of the tush push was being put in there, that the Eagles front office was already bringing guys in to start running fullback and doing that. And if people forget the guy, they moved him from linebacker to fullback the first half of last season before he got his knee hurt. They were running fullback with that offensive line. So Philadelphia's already trying to bring it back. It's going to happen at some point in time next few years. That I think the only other team that really has a fullback on the roster is the let me guess, it's the San Francisco 49ers. I think that's about it. The only one that keeps an active one on the roster, right? Is there someone else that I'm missing?
Not a lot. It's not a lot.
I don't know.
A lot of times it's two
I know the
tailbacks.
Chargers have a fullback.
Yeah, the Chargers he's a fullback.
He's also a defensive lineman, though, to Madcraft. He was like, isn't our fullback also a defensive lineman? Yes, I think that is.
Yeah, our fullback is a linebacker. So I definitely hear you there. But as we're talking about hard-nosed football, we got to get to a hard-nosed city, okay? I know Ryan's been waiting for this one. When he's seen the questions, it was, we were talking about the state of Ohio last week in new stadium. Cincinnati did get a deal done to kind of keep themselves there. They got a new stadium. It just came out today that the Dog Pound is going domed. I think people in Cleveland might be initially upset about this because snow in Cleveland is kind of like Philadelphia cheesesteak and Whiz cheese. It just it works together. But if they're building a state-of-the-art facility like they're talking about, a dome place, it's more they're doing more stuff than just having football games there. They're going to be looking to having concerts and things of that nature. They're bringing a state-of-the-art facility to Ohio to bring more musical acts there and other things of that nature. And obviously Super Bowls, that's one. NFL draft, there's another. They're looking to bring in, bring excitement back to the state of Ohio. So I know Ryan was excited about this. I'm going to get your thoughts on it first, my friend.
Oh, well, yeah. You just already said it. It's hilarious to me how the state of Ohio, especially in Cleveland, that place is made to be playing in the snow. It's made to be playing in the cold. And I struggle with this a lot because at the end of the day, yes, what this is really saying is we want to host a Super Bowl. That's really what this is saying. We want to host a Super Bowl in Cleveland. They know they're not going to be able to do that with their outdoor stadium. So they build an indoor stadium. That's how a lot of these teams are doing now because they want to host Super Bowls and other events throughout the year. But they're never, I shouldn't say never. They will probably never build a stadium after Lambeau Field. Lambeau Field's going to be there for a long time. But this is like saying we're going to take Lambeau Field and build a dome in Green Bay instead of Lambeau Field. That's basically what this says to me in Cleveland. There's just some places you just don't build domes. Outdoor, cold, smash mouth football is where it's at for some of these cities, and Cleveland is one of them. Does everyone remember the snow game last year with Pittsburgh and Cleveland there on Thursday Night Football? Wonderful game to watch. I could barely see the screen in like the third quarter. It was amazing. Jameis Winston doing his best impressions, and whoever was playing quarterback for the Steelers at the time, I think it might have been still Russell. But that's the games I really enjoy, and that's going to be going away in the next few years after this gets built, and that's just a travesty to me. I understand dome stadiums. At the end of the day, I understand the dome stadiums. I understand the need for it, but I like the outdoors. I like some of this cold weather cities. They just need their cold weather, and the fans thrive off it, honestly. And so I think the Clevelanders will be disappointed, and I don't think that disappointment's going away.
Marvin, you first.
This is a situation where they chose business over culture. Ryan is right. I mean, this is a blue-collar city. The weather is part of their culture. It's part of their advantage. It's part of their identity and who they are. That, last year, the game Ryan's referring to, Jameis Winston was out there talking about how amazing this is and God is good. And they're out there doing snow angels, whatever it was. It was a great scene. It was a great TV product, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, they want an even better TV product. And I think that's what the dome, I think it changes culture a little bit. I think it changes what it is to play in Cleveland. I think it changes them having the advantage of a home game in cold weather when the Dolphins are coming up, whatever it may be. But this is a straight business move. You guys said there's a much bigger picture out there. We said it at the beginning of the segment, the show. These are businessmen. These are titans of industry. They're thinking about how can I make more money and more money and more money to the dome, and that's the bottom line. And that's it.
JD.
My bad.
Sorry.
I was trying not to talk while muted, and somehow I double-clicked it. But listen, you guys are both 100% correct. The first reason I hate new NFL stadiums is they require taxpayer dollars most of the time. You're not giving taxpayers free tickets to the game. You're not helping me out at all by taking tax money and putting it towards a new stadium. Is it a great attraction for your city? Yes. Is it better for tourism? Yes. But y'all are worth billions of dollars. Pay for it yourself. Number one. Number two, Ryan nailed it. Super Bowl. They want to play it with the Super Bowl. And Matt Kraft says, you showed the comment. How come we can play an NFC, and I mentioned an AFC championship game in the snow, but we can't play the Super Bowl in the snow?
It was actually a divisional game this year, but I got you, Matt Kraft.
Well, I mean, no, he's talking about, I don't know which one he's talking about. I'm talking about the one.
I mean, if you looked at this past season when the Eagles played the Rams in the divisional game, the game started off and it was crystal clear day. But you know, by the third or fourth quarter, when you know you see that Saquon Barkley big touchdown run where he's smacking himself in the head, they're doing snow angels in the end zone and everything like that. When Stafford goes and makes his last drive in the snow, where Jalen Carter sacks him, it's the snow games, outdoor games are what makes football special. Because as you know, as Marvin was talking about, you have those teams like that they only play well in those non-weather conditions. So when you're pulling up something like that, and you're a place that, can you imagine the Buffalo Bills sitting there saying, hey, we're going to have a dome stadium moving forward? The fan base would revolt. And I'm sure that this fan base is going to be just as upset when everything's said and done. But it's
I think the Bills have one coming already, don't they?
I thought it was retractable.
Yeah, I mean, but either way.
You're muted, Ryan. We didn't catch that.
Either way,
yeah. I think it's retractable, yes.
Yeah, so that's what I thought.
Either way, if it's snowing outside, guess what they doing? Closing it.
I think that's 50-50. I think that's 50-50 on that.
I will say one thing, though. There's a reason why the one of the most brilliant things the NFL did was take the NFL draft on the road. There are certain teams that are just not going to host a Super Bowl. That's just a fact. Green Bay is not going to host a Super Bowl. Too cold in February. Not going to happen. And they're not going to put Lambeau in a dome. But there's certain places that are just never going to host a Super Bowl. And so the NFL draft is kind of these teams' ways of, this is their Super Bowl, if you will, hosting the draft. You know, and so I think Mad Kraft takes. I mean, I would love to see a Super Bowl in the snow. Absolutely, I would go for it. But I don't think the NFL will. No, 100%.
Can you imagine the halftime performer going out there and they're sitting there?
That's exactly, Steven. That's exactly. You just mentioned the halftime. That is precisely why they need it inside. That's why it's got to be a dome. Listen, I've seen my head coach of my college team, Shane Beamer, get mad because they drove like a train, the cockaboose, on the field when it was raining outside. It left indentions all in the field. Can you imagine what a halftime performance would do to a field? And it all comes down to money, because that's what the halftime performance is. To tie all of the conversation we talked about earlier. Money, 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 money. You got to have the halftime show. You can't have Beyonce out there performing in the snow, or Rihanna, or Kendrick Lamar. They'll destroy the field.
Right at halftime. Oh man, Mad Crash. I'm loving your takes tonight, brother.
He's a silly goose. He's silly goose.
We all have our moments, my friend.
But hey, Ryan, Marvin, great stuff. Great takes on that.
So, gonna move on to the next one. A little feel good story for you. Everyone was upset when Mr. Randy Moss had to step down from his announcing duties, and he announced that he had cancer that he was fighting, and it just came through a couple months ago that he had beaten said cancer, and today the report is he will be back in full-time duties for his broadcasting duties. I couldn't be happier. I've always loved Randy Moss, both as a player and his NFL mind. There's very few people that can articulate what they're seeing and what the position calls for, and some of the little intricacies about it. I love Randy. Love that he's back. Can't wait to see him back on TV again. We'll start this one off with JD.
Straight cash, homie. You got Moss. Bro, Randy Moss, Marvin, Ryan, I don't know if you guys know this. I'm a NASCAR fan. Guess what Randy Moss did? He owned a NASCAR truck team. He is the coolest cat of coolest cats, in my opinion. Give me Randy Moss over Stephen A., Kendrick Perkins, anybody. Rex Ryan, Dan Orlovsky.
Rex Ryan's terrible.
Give me Randy Moss.
Terrible analysis.
Inject Randy Moss into my veins, because I tell you what, we keep it just straight cash, homie, over here.
Marvin, your thoughts?
Listen, just forget football. Just as a human being, you wish Randy and his family the best. Obviously, everybody. Cancer has impacted everybody. Everybody has somebody who they love who has had or had cancer. So to hear this end up being a success story is a blessing, and we're just very thankful. Everybody, football fans across the world are just thankful that somebody like a Randy Moss, who you got to know him in college a little bit, went through some ups and downs, and you saw him in Minnesota, but really nice. I've played against Randy. I haven't met Randy. I don't know him personally, but when you see him on camera, you check him out. Great guy, great personality, really nice country boy. Really in my mind, doing the right thing, saying some funny stuff, the straight cash thing. That was real. That was a candid moment where someone called him and he was just giving his real take on how he pays his bills, straight cash, but really a great personality, and just very thankful that he's able to recover, come back and get back in that booth. He does a great job, gives a great perspective. He's a credible voice, and I look forward to seeing him again talk football. So, congratulations to him and his family and those doctors and his medical team, because this is a story that essentially will be a positive one.
Ryan.
Yep. Both JD and Marvin said it. Congrats to Randy on his clean bill of health coming back. And he is one of my best receivers of all time. I won't give him a ranking, but he's up there for me. You got Mossed. Marvin gives his reaction.
I think it's one of the more popular football segments we see in the media world is the "You Got Moss" segment. He has an effect like how Deion did when he first hit the NFL Network. Deion was punking some people on the NFL draft for many a year, and I still in my heart of hearts believe that's why he wound up going to coaching, because they didn't like how Deion was making the Mel Kiper Juniors of the world look absolutely silly. I love his energy. Can't wait to see it back. No one has anything else to add to this, or did I talk it all out?
As Gamecock Chuck said,
I was waiting on. Yeah, go ahead, Ryan. I want to hear more.
No, I was just gonna say, as Gamecock Chuck says, cancer sucks, and at the end of the day, when you see people fight and battle and come out the other side, it's wonderful, and I'm so glad Randy's going to be back. Continued prayers, as Gamecock Chuck says, obviously. But no, I'm excited to see Randy's analysis. He's really good at football, obviously played wide receiver and was really good at it, and he can analyze ball. And like you said, Steve, the You Got Moss segment's is always fun to see, or even just in the highlights watching this. But yeah, I don't have a lot to say on this. Just congrats to Randy for coming back. I'm excited to see him, and we'll see what happens as the NFL season kicks off.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one, and I want to kind of switch it up because I want to give Ben a chance to get back in here for this last one, so I'm going to go with the Deebo Samuel one. And the reason why I brought this one up, I mean, obviously I've seen the some pictures of him initially at minicamp and stuff like that. But this past weekend was Devontae Smith's annual softball game that he has with celebrities and NFL players. And two little videos I came across. One was former Eagles defensive end Brandon Graham's comments on it. And the other was Terrell Owens' comment to a Washington Commanders, podcaster. So play two quick videos, and we're gonna get our thoughts on the out of shape Deebo. Is that a concern for the Washington Commanders as they've just traded to take on that contract?
You got Deebo. It's gonna be between us two. Him, he got to be in shape first. He don't look like he in shape right now. What? He gonna do his thing. Everybody keeps saying Deebo's that. He is, man. No, we got Deebo. It's gonna be between us two. I wouldn't worry about him. He got to be in shape first. He don't look like he in shape right now.
If anyone has seen any of the pictures of him or whatever, T.O. was basically sitting there saying he's a chicken nugget away from being a tight end. Pretty funny comment, right? I don't think he's that out of shape. I mean, obviously, watching some people take some shots at the Commanders isn't going to hurt me, especially Deebo Samuel, because, he's had a whole hell of a lot to say about Philadelphia over the last few years. So no love lost for me there. I think it's a little premature. We're still early in camp. Yeah. Does he look like he got a little weight there? Yeah, maybe he looks like he got a little weight there, but I don't know if it's something that the general public, obviously, Terrell Owens and Brandon Graham don't have anything shy to say about that. I guess we'll start this one off with Marvin. What are your thoughts? If you're a Commanders fan, are you concerned with what looks like to be the weight of a Deebo Samuel right now?
Yes and no. So check this out. When I was in New Orleans in '99 with Mike Ditka, for every pound that if I was overweight, it was $5,000 a pound that I was overweight. Okay, yeah, this is in 1999. I'm making league minimum. So I'm not, so I used to come in shape. This guy got the bag. I don't know what the numbers are, but I'm sure he got the bag, and I'm sure that there is some type of incentive or restriction or something regarding his weight. There's a weight limit on there. Look, he's a pro. He knows how to get in shape. It is realistic and possible that, maybe he let himself go this offseason a little bit, I guess. It's realistic that if he had an injury that maybe he wasn't able to train the same. I recently saw a video of this guy working out recently, and he looked good. He looked good. He looked quick. He looked fast. He looked explosive. T.O. calling him fat, and the other guy. A lot of clickbait out here. A lot of guys just talking. They don't mean what they say. Is it possible he's overweight? Sure. Are the Commanders concerned? I'm certain that between now and that first game, he's going to get right. He's going to be what he needs to be. I don't see this guy going into the season out of shape. I love
Pete Digits' comments here. Deebo with a gut is better than 30% of the starting wide receivers in the league.
Listen, and he may have a gut. I don't know. I just saw him recently working out on YouTube. The guy looked good. I mean, he looked good to me. So. And I'm sure he has financial reasons to come in shape at the right weight, pass his conditioning test. I mean, these are things he has to do. So I think what you really saw is a couple of guys make a few comments, but at the end of the day, he's a pro, and Deebo will get right. I'm certain he is excited to work with this young stud quarterback out in DC. So I don't think the Commanders are worried about that. I think that's a lot of internet noise, to be honest with you.
Ryan?
Agreed. A lot of internet noise. He's a pro. Actually looking forward to JD's answer with being South Carolina down there. But it's he has struggled with weight issues in the past, or maybe if you don't want to call it weight issues, maybe kind of giving up on plays, maybe not going 100% on every play. He had some of that struggle there in San Francisco, but I think Marvin said it perfectly. He is a pro. He's going to show up. I would not believe, or no, I said that wrong. I would not be surprised if there were some incentives in his contract to show up with the weight. This is going to be, he'll be okay. This is internet noise. This is off season. This is July off season noise, beginning of July off season noise. And I think Debo's going to be just fine.
JD.
I hope my answer lives up to expectations, Ryan. Because, yes, listen, the dude is thick. Okay, first of all, Debo Samuel, he's thick. I've watched him in college. I've seen him. He's a running back playing wide receiver. Okay? It's not like he's 6'4", 175 pounds. Like that's never been him. He's been 6 foot, 210, 215. Now he's up like 220, 225, maybe. He's still in better shape than all of us. He needed a fresh start. He will be just fine playing with Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. They've got running backs. I trust Dan Quinn to win in the regular season. I don't necessarily trust him to win a Super Bowl. I ain't going to say that. But Debo needed a fresh start, change of scenery. It can be great for athletes. And we've seen him work out, bro. To both of y'all's point, he's going to be okay. He'll be all right. I promise. Washington.
So I'm gonna reiterate. I agree with everyone. Especially Marvin and Ryan. Internet noise. Brandon Graham and Tio. I think razzing up the Commanders content creator right there, getting him in his feelings. And we're in the first day of July. They still got two more months before anything gets serious. I think he'll be fine. He is going to make them, unfortunately, way more dynamic than they were last year. As Marvin's sitting there saying, he's going to be playing with one of the premier quarterbacks that has come into the league over the past few years. He has an arm. He has football smarts. He creates that other dimension with his legs. And as we were already talking about, Debo is that. He's that change of pace guy. He can line up in the backfield. He can line up in the slot. He can line up at the 2. He can line up at the 1. You can move him all around the field. He's going to be a great weapon for Dan Quinn and the Washington Commanders. And speaking of, we have a Commanders fan in the chat room, Mr. Gamecock Chuck, and he's done with the Commanders. He's a Redskins fan. He wants to make it known that he's a Redskins fan. I still, to this day, think this whole thing with the Commanders becoming the Commanders from the Redskins, the Guardians being moved, being put in there as the Cleveland Indians is some of the stupidest stuff I have seen in sports. This political correctness nonsense is bleeding into our sports. And yes, I still thought when they changed it, they should have changed it to the Washington Sentinels, a la the movie that we did with the Replacements. That would have been better than if you.
We don't have time for a movie rabbit hole, Steven.
Yeah. Hey, listen. I'm always going to throw in the movie punch.
Ryan and Marvin are just like, shut up. Let's talk sports.
No. Listen, I recently saw something where. There was a group out of DC that were saying that the actual Native American that was on the helmet was a way to honor that person. And it was never, so I understand why they did what they did. I understand why they did it. At the end of the day, I think there was a lot of things misunderstood about intent, purpose, how he got to that point. With sports fans, man, sports is like our religion. We love it. Don't mess with our teams. How do you tell a fan base, that their team is no longer called this? What are you talking about? You can change the Yankees name, change the Mets to it's crazy. So I get that side of it completely. And after recently understanding that the Native American on the helmet was a way to honor that person. I want to say his name was Bill. Was it Chief Bill? I forgot, but
I think you're right. I think it was that.
It was a Bill something, but they were honoring him. That's what they were doing initially, and I think that kind of got missed out of hand, got taken for a ride. And in a woke world, these people decided to change the name. I wasn't ready for that. Yeah,
he was a liaison for the tribes and the franchise.
Yeah.
So it's not just like I get Watchuk Joe, for Major League Baseball, because it's been something that has been silly for a while, and Ben makes it back just in time to touch on one of the last few subjects that we do got on the docket here. Welcome back, Ben. How you feeling?
Sir. Hey man, listen, I'm trying to do my best to make sure I'm all over the place tonight. My wife is like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm just having fun with the fellas. That's all I'm doing.
Hey, well, fair warning: the fryers are hot. Don't touch them.
And they're about to get hotter. You guys seen the topic list tonight, and I felt it was time to address this. Warren Sapp is one of the most feared man of his time, right? And he absolutely had to deal with some utter nonsense, over the last few years. He had a situation with the police officers down there in Florida, and I'm gonna pull the one up right now. I don't know how well you guys can see some of this, but I'll read it off. It basically, Warren Sapp, former NFL player, current Colorado Buffalo's assistant head coach, had filed a $20 million lawsuit against the county sheriff's office down there in Florida. The lawsuit stems from a February 24 arrest during a charity event where Sapp claimed civil rights were violated. Charges were against him, then later dropped. State attorney is deemed the police actions unlawful. There's been multiple videos about this that has gone up. Even furthermore, he has gone to get public records, and when he's going to the public's office, which if you see any of these people on TikTok, YouTube, whatever, that they have people that go in, get records, they record, and everyone has seen these situations where cops called. That when the cop is called, it was the cop that arrested him that is being called there to deal with the issue. So I'm gonna play a video here. I think this is Warren's lawyer.
He could have calmly called him anything.
That's correct. You can video as long as you're not physically impeding. Now they can instruct you to go to
an area,
a public area, and
right.
If you're there and you're respecting it, then that's within your First Amendment constitutionally protected rights. One of the things we have as citizens of the United States is the ability to confront our public officials. My opinion, based on the videos that we've watched, which is not all of it, it seemed like a clear violation of his civil rights. He was abiding by instructions. He was merely questioning the validity of the stop after the arrest was completed. It's impossible to impede an investigation that is already completed.
Right.
And he's smart enough to know that.
And knows the law actually better than the sheriff did.
He does. And then the interrogation room, it almost seemed as though he was interrogating the sheriff's investigator.
Well, Warren's going to win this. Everything that we've seen shows Warren to be on the right side of the law.
If he's doing it for the reasons he said, which is it's not about the money, it's about teaching young black men about how to protect themselves and how to force people who are in positions of authority to follow the Constitution, and if it changes policies in this little backward-ass sheriff's district, then that's mission accomplished. And then on top of that, he will get paid.
Now, first off, bravo to Warren Sapp for doing it the right thing, the right way, for the right reason. I'm gonna start off with both of our former NFL players first, Ben, because he's been going for a minute, and then we're gonna go to Marvin, Ryan, then JD. What are your thoughts on this? The videos that you've seen, I'm sure you all have done research on it since I put this on the topic list for tonight. Ben, how you feeling, brother?
I feel great for Warren Sapp for a lot of reasons. Warren Sapp let me know that I'm not that weird. We do the same thing. When I'm on YouTube, I'm watching First Amendment audits, whether it's Kansas City audit, Big Snick, South Florida accountability. You talk about Long Island, accountability. What these audits do, it teaches you about the law, what you can and can't do, what the law can and can't do. So Warren Sapp, sitting there getting educated by this free education on YouTube, he finally got approached. And here's the thing: you cannot impede an investigation that has already been conducted, and impeding an investigation is a physical act. What Warren Sapp got targeted, and Warren Sapp knows this. I'm Warren Sapp, but I'm not crazy. I don't, if they take my life from me, they're gonna try to find a way to villainize me, and victimize the person that did the shooting to me. Warren Sapp is simply saying, "Look, man, y'all are violating my rights." And when they sat him down in the interrogation room, which is recorded, he took him to school. Sometimes law enforcement's job, it's all in the name. You're not feelings enforcement, you are law enforcement. If you ain't enforcing the law, what are you doing? You violating people's rights. And when people push back, whether they're a former Hall of Fame defensive tackle or not, Warren Sapp is saying, I'm trying to educate because I've been educated, and I'm happy for him. He kept his calm, he kept his cool, but he also he held court because some of these sheriff's departments and districts. Listen, I lived in Brunswick, Georgia, where Ahmaud Arbery got gunned down by 3 white guys who decided he wasn't fit to be in the neighborhood. And when they did kill him, when the police showed up on the scene, they had more respect for the killers than the one who was killed. So I know how, and I lived in that community. So I'm just saying, whenever we are on the right side of the law, we don't need to raise our voice. We don't need to be led by feelings. Let's be led by calm, poise, and information. Them sheriff's department, they didn't realize who they was dealing with. They was thinking, oh, he don't know the law. No. Look, it don't take that long. It don't take that long to be in office these days. And just because you got, a badge on don't mean you understand what you're doing. So now they're going to have to pay the piper. I hope they have to give him $40 million, a public apology. But kudos to Warren Sapp, man, because sometimes when it comes to former players, we so ready to pile on when they look crazy in public. Let's applaud them when they do the right thing in public.
Marvin.
Yeah, so when I see this, I think about myself and really things that I've gone through in my life dealing with the police. The reality is I've gone my whole life, 49 years. I've never hit anybody. I've never been hit. I've never been in a fight off of the field or anything like that. I try to be low key, chill, emotional intelligence. But the reality is, multiple times in my life as a young athlete, I had police put guns to my head multiple times. And it ended with them just putting the gun down and just leaving the situation. No arrests, no anything, because it was all BS from the beginning of it. I was young then. I know a lot of athletes who have been through this, a lot of young black men who've been through this in their lives. I would bet you that Warren Sapp in his life has dealt with the police on many occasions. Maybe some of that was on him, maybe it wasn't. But what you see now is a OG, veteran, grown man who's been through it. He knows how to deal with it now. He knows how to address it. Because when that happened to me, I didn't know how to deal with that. I didn't even tell my dad. I didn't tell anybody. I mean, my friends were with me when it happened because the cops put guns on them too, multiple times. But, Warren Sapp being 50 years old, he's been through it. So when he sees what it is, this ain't no 20-year-old punk anymore. This ain't no 25-year-old kid. This is a grown man, and he's treating it like a grown man with experience. And at the end of the day, he's going to get paid. Good for him.
Yeah, it's like Ben and Marvin said, applaud to Warren Sapp for what he did and just being able to handle things the right way. And, it's sad when, unfortunately, there are situations that come up with law enforcement and people have to take advantage of a situation. And so, and like Ben said, we're always quick to criticize. We're quick to point the finger, especially when it's a higher profile athlete in an off the field situation. So credit to Warren Sapp. we'll see what happens in this situation, but I do think he's also going to be on the right side of this.
JD?
Marvin and Ben, y'all both nailed it, man. And Ryan, you too. Listen, on Southern Fried Sports, it's all about your sports. It's all about your mental. It's all about your personality. Don't have anything to do with skin color and all of that stuff. Warren Sapp, though, how did the dude not know who Warren Sapp is? Huh? You been living under a rock, Mr. Police Officer? How do you not know who Warren Sapp is? But so fantastic that he was able to capture this moment and bring awareness to it.
Well, not only does he have a recording of this, they also threw him and a bunch of other members of the community out of a public meeting about this because they didn't want any of this getting out or being heard. So they have dug themselves in a hole so deep that I'm with Ben. I think that when it all comes down to he's going to be awarded more than he's asking for because it's so egregiously wrong that the judge is going to be compelled to do so. So yeah, right. He's in the right. I hope that he uses this one because I know he's been having issues getting covered medically. That he's good in his medical side of things, but he also gives this back to be able to show young athletes. To educate yourselves, to make sure you're in the right, to know how to handle the situation in the right way. Since we got a few more minutes, I want to squeeze one last one in there about today's news. I don't know which one of y'all heard this. We had on retirement. Darren Waller, after being forced to play fullback, retired on the New York Giants. Well, he got traded to Miami for a buckle of peanuts today, or I think it was a late round pick out of retirement. I know I want to get Ben on this one because I know that's his boy right there.
D Wall, man, I'm super duper happy for him. I thought he was gonna just go strictly rapping these days, but you got balls. If you've heard his music, the Miami Dolphins needed a upgrade at the wide receiver position because Jonnu Smith got moved. He moved on to Pittsburgh, and I don't think you get much better than a guy that's 6'6", 260 pounds that can run. Yes, he spent a year out of football. Hopefully, he kept himself in shape. Mike McDaniel's gonna find a way to utilize this guy and. It makes this offense dynamic. I don't know if it puts him over the top, but Jonnu Smith, I think he led the team catch last year with 88. It was a career year. Darren Waller, guy came out of Georgia Tech, went to the Baltimore Ravens, obviously just like real similar to a Max Crosby. He's one of the faces for sobriety and what he's been able to be to that community since he got in the National Football League. I'm just rooting for him, and I'm just happy to see him back out there on the field. I think they're gonna have a plan for him. And like I said, I was like, I'm happy for two reasons. Darren Waller's back in the league, and they did not trade for Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is going to be a Falcon. I can live with it, people. I can live with it.
Marvin, initial thoughts on D Waller coming out of retirement, getting traded down there in Miami?
It's a positive story. Very happy for him and his family. Listen, it takes a lot of discipline to take a year off of football. It does. It's easy to get out there and get out of shape, get big, get fat, and all that. The fact that they signed him, and they've obviously worked him out, and they've seen him out there. He must look good. I'm happy for him. This guy represents, mental health. He represents, coming back from adversity, public relationship, and all that stuff. So I'm happy for him. This is a good day. He deserves it, and I hope he does well with the Fins this year.
JD.
When was the last time a retired player was traded? So clearly the Giants thought he might come back if he was still under contract with them, or he just retired early, which wasn't he the one married to Kelsey Plum?
I just know that they told him that he had to play fullback. He was sitting there, basically quit on the field. Was like, I'm done. I'm not doing this.
Hey, Steve, it ain't for everybody. It's a grown man position. It ain't for everybody. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. I'm not knocking tight ends, Ben. I'm not.
No, knock us because people like you, Marvin. I'm like, listen, man. Marvin built for this, man. Hey, Ben, listen, Marvin need a breather. Well, run another play. Don't run a lead play. Because if I got to be the lead blocker, that play's not going to work. It's going to be 2nd and 15. But the most disrespected and unappreciated position in football is not the running back. It's the full back position. Because you get you a hybrid fullback, you talk about can run some plays that don't come off the field because they want problems. That's grown men coming up in the hole. And if they catch one in the flat and they get upfield, that cornerback gonna have to make a business decision. Because he's not coming up to get him on the ground. So yes, Marvin, I appreciate y'all. Listen, 6'2" and below can play fullback. 6'4" and above, I can't get that low, man. I respect y'all too much. Them linebackers will eat me.
Can I get in? Let me get in here real quick.
Coming out of retirement, Ben.
Huh?
Gamecock Chuck thinks you're coming out of retirement.
Listen, Gamecock Chuck. I appreciate that, sir. Just even thinking about coming out of retirement, my arm hurt, my joints hurt. I'm not doing it. Not doing it.
All right, JD. Sorry we stole from you. Go back, brother.
No. You're good. Two things real quick. Have you ever heard of QC Kinetics, Ben?
Yes, I've heard of at 100%. Yes.
Hey, Emmett Smith be repping them, man. Get them joints back.
Listen, I'm good. I'm coming to QC Kinetics, but what I'm saying is, when it comes to football ain't for the weak-hearted, man. Let me tell y'all something. The biggest myth in life is football is a contact sport. No, this is contact. See that? We touching football is a collision sport. That's why people don't do it. We collide out there. Play after play after play. And sometimes it ain't a battle of skill, it's a battle of will. Everybody they don't want to do that, man. You don't want Marvin staring at you saying what you got to say. Nah, look at me when I'm talking to you. I'm coming right at you. It ain't gonna be cute in this hole. A fullback meet the middle linebacker in that A gap. Just put your hand over your child eyes. That ain't for everybody to see, man. That ain't for the weak-hearted, man. I'm just saying.
All right, we got down to the last.
Yeah, we're gonna get out. We're gonna get out. But hey, listen. I just had to say this. You have my full blessing to be the new Southern Fried Gentleman, Ben, because that's my fullback take. My high school, that's the football they run. Fullback, smash mouth. Fullback's there to beat the hole, man. We cleared it. We talked the same thing. Marvin, Ryan, we all on the same page. Steven, we all had a great show. Get us out of here, brother.
All right, Ryan, I want to get your final thoughts on this one before we wrap this one up, brother.
Yep, Darren Waller coming out of retirement. Good story for him. Happy that he's back in the league. John Gruden always had good things to say about him on Hard Knocks back in the day. Darren Waller, good to see him back in the league with the Dolphins. And we'll see, like Ben said, if this really takes their offense to the next level with Tua, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, and the boys.
All right, as we're closing this off, down to the last 2 minutes here, parting shots here. Marvin, any last words for the evening?
Man, listen, I'm excited that it's July, that we get the Hall of Fame game this month, and we get football. That's what it comes down to. We get football. I'm excited for preseason football. I'm excited for these guys to go to training camp and get that whole thing going. USC has the #1 recruiting class in the nation right now. I'll leave it with that. All right. Listen, great show. I love it. This is a great show, guys. I really enjoyed myself today.
No, we don't.
Man, I know you've been all over the place. Final thoughts before we get ready to send everyone home.
Man, I'm humbled to be on this incredible show with you gentlemen. It's always fun to just come in, just talk, about life, about sports, have a little fun. And hey, man, listen, the best variety of football is played on Saturday, but the best players in the world play on Sunday.
That isn't a lie there, my friend. A fun one in the book tonight. We're gonna have me and Ben will be back tomorrow morning with a special guest. Just gonna have to make sure you're locked in to find out who. We're gonna get a NFL sports content creator on, and we're gonna be breaking down some football, having some fun, doing our normal shenanigans like we normally do on the Fan in the End. This should be my last week running the ship here for Inside the Pigskin. But always a pleasure having Marvin on. He's been doing double duty for us this week, helping us with the programming. JD as well. Always love hearing his 2 cents. We'll be back with him for Fired Up Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And
Maybe.
Ryan, appreciate you joining in on the shenanigans tonight. For people who don't know, Ryan also hosts a show with our Ben Troop. the winning division there. So guys, make sure you follow Ryan, check him out, check out the programming they do, because Ben be talking a whole lot more smack on a whole lot more networks than just here on the South Florida Tribune. So show Ryan some love, guys. Make sure you're checking Marvin, JD, Ben out on all the social media platforms. They're really easy to find, really easy to connect with. Other than that, I got nothing more to add to this one. Just getting everything closed out. I'm Steve. He was Ben. That was Marvin. That was Ryan. That was JD. This was Inside the Pigskin. We will see you guys next week. Have fun, my friends. Peace out.